Hello. This is on, right? Yeah, it's on. So I don't really know where I'm aiming to go with this type of video. Um, I've been spending so many years trying to find my niche, the thing that I do differently to everybody else. But I get so stuck. I don't know what it is that I want to do. And a lot of the time, I find myself only doing these things because I'm trying to be someone. But 9 times out of 10, I'm actually trying to be someone else. And so I think that's why I don't continue with things, because I'm not being true to me. And so what sparked the idea of just sitting down and talking, I was watching a video. Well, actually, no, I wasn't watching it. It just got like suggested to me on YouTube, and I thought, oh, this looks cozy. I'll click on that, and it was just a girl who was sitting down and just chatting about stuff that she'd experienced or stuff with her health, and I thought that was quite mesmerizing in a way. So I thought, okay, so maybe the only niche I require, which doesn't require me to be anybody else, is to just be me. And then I haven't got to try and put on this persona of, oh, I'm so good at this thing that I'm not actually even sure if I'm actually that good at, or even if I like it. It's just, as I was saying, my dog decided to bark at nothing, as always. So I just thought, well, here I am. Let's just sit and chat. I mean, the funny thing with me is 9 times out of 10, all I'm doing is sitting in my own head, thinking about a million different things. And I just thought maybe I could just talk about some of those things, some of the things that go around in my head, and maybe find some like-minded people who resonate with the stuff I say or have similar situations going on, I think the world is filled with such fakeness, even if that's a word, that it's hard to find people that are being real, like really real. And I find it refreshing when I do stumble across someone who is. Lily? Everything's going off all at once. Anyway. Well, this is one of the reasons why I struggle to really get myself to sit down and do videos like this, because it's taken me about 2 weeks to actually just set this up and do this, because I really struggle when I get interrupted. Like, Lily, stop. Lily, enough. Just trying to nick my drink now. Anyway, so yeah, I get really easily distracted. I don't want to go being all like, me and my ADHD. I do have my assessment coming up for that. And that is definitely a factor as to why, like, I struggle with paying attention, being able to start things, because I worry, like, things like interruptions for someone like myself and others with neurodivergent brains, it kind of makes you feel like giving up. It's hard to accept that there are things that go on around you that can be distracting, and can mean that the thing that you're trying to do gets interrupted. I've spent many years being angry about that. A lot of it was because I didn't understand why I was reacting that way. But now I understand, because it took me so long to work myself up to do that certain thing, and now it's being interrupted. And now I'm struggling to focus and remember what I was either talking about or what I was going to do, or I found something else that needs to be done instead. And then everything, in regards to hobbies and things that I enjoy kind of just gets put on a back burner, because I'm sure, right? I'm sure that like the universe has an ongoing joke going on with me or something, because it's always when I finally build up the motivation and the want to do something that these things occur. Honestly, it's like like my dog has been asleep most of the morning and most of the afternoon. She's got up a little bit and had a water or whatever, but she's been chilling most of the time. The moment I switched my phone on to, test out whether this mic was working and stuff, she was just like, "What are you doing? You don't normally do stuff like this." And so there was a part of me nearly ready to just put it all away, because I could tell that was going to be her mood. But instead, I went and made myself. See? Instead, I made myself a hibiscus tea, fancy, and just mentally prepared myself and just told myself that, you know what, it's okay if these things happen. The point of the video is to be realistic. Like, this is what life is. It's not all cuts and edits and perfection all the time. Like, a lot of the time, it's chaos. And I need to try and learn how to be calm during the chaos instead of reacting and getting upset and using it as another excuse as to why I can't start new things, because that is, one of the excuses I use. I mean, what's the point in starting anyway? It's only going to get interrupted. Yeah. But I also have to remember that, like, if I really don't want that part in there, that I can cut it out. Like, it doesn't have to stay there. Sometimes it's hard to process that. Like, 9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, there is a solution. The majority of the time. But I find that my brain just tries to find every reason why there isn't a solution. And it's frustrating, because, the funny thing is like, when people come to me for advice, and I give them as much advice as I can, and they come back with me with well, I don't know if I could do that, or I'm like, why not just try? And so I really need to listen to myself, because in these moments where I'm sitting here going, I don't know if I should start this video or not. You will hear my dog now. She's yeah, I don't know if I should start this. Oh, hello, there she is. Want to say hello? Lil's on the mic. She just wants to give it a bite. She doesn't want to say hello. She just wants to give it. She just wants to eat it and chew it because it's monstrous. Ooh. Anyway. Oh my God, she's so insane. Everything she does is with pure intensity. Everything. No. It's mine. Okay, you continue doing whatever it was you were doing. I'm going to get back to this now. See, I've completely lost what I was talking about. It's gone. I'm also very sorry. I am recovering from a cold, so I sound all sniffly and gross, so excuse that. Are you done? I need to try and remember what I was saying, but it's gone. No. She well wants to eat this, you know. It's one of these moments where I might like put one of those 5 years later. Just waiting for her to give up the idea of trying to eat my microphone. I know she hasn't seen one of these before, but, you know. Okay, it's not looking like she's going to leave me alone, so I'm just going to try and process what I was trying to say. So, what was I saying? It's gone. This is why I struggle, but it's okay. It's okay. We're going to carry on and see where my mind goes next. That's the part that I was really wanting to show, because it's like genuine behavior. Like, I literally have to do stuff like this every day. Just in normal society, like, this is how most of my conversations end up being. Or I'm the opposite and I just talk so much. But yeah, I think what I was trying to say was that it is really difficult to not be able to focus on things that you enjoy doing. Or just general tasks. Like, I struggle with the motivation of like just doing a normal task sometimes. And like, it didn't always used to be like that. But I think it's I've built up some sort of wall, because when I get motivated to do something, when I want to do the washing up or I want to do some cleaning or whatever, it's never just that one task. So I may go over to the sink, fill up the sink with water with all the intentions to wash that stuff up. But once I've filled the bowl, put the stuff in to soak, I may have turned around and gone, oh, I've got time to push around the Hoover. So I might quickly push around the Hoover whilst the things are soaking. And then I go into a different room and then I'm like, oh, I need to do that load of washing. damn it. So I collect all the washing and then I put the stuff in there. And then I go and check around the other areas and make sure that there isn't any loose socks around, because I have a dog that loves socks. So I check around everywhere. Typically, I'll then, probably end up somewhere in like the bathroom or beside my bed if they've ended up there, because I'm lazy sometimes. I'm going to hold my hand up, right? But what then happens is I go in there and think, oh, this sink is really dirty. So I get the bleach out. I start cleaning the sink. And then before you know it, suddenly like it's dinner time and I've got to start cooking tea and I still haven't done the washing up. In fact, now I've made the washing up 10 times worse because I've just done the cooking. And so when I finished eating and take all the food over there, at this point I'm feeling burnt out and drained because I've just done more than what my brain had prepared itself for. And to say like a neurotypical person, oh, we don't want that on there, do we? Anyway, so to the neurotypical person, doing all those things will be fine because they get up and they know what their day is going to be like. They know what time they have. They're not likely to get distracted mid task. And so they can just get on with it. And they are able to sort of use their energy wisely. Whereas, it sounds silly saying it, right? Because why should it take so long to mentally prepare yourself to do a task? And, half the time, like, once I finally got round to doing, say, the washing up, which may not still have happened on that day where I wanted to do it, it might end up happening the next day. I typically do it when I need to. Like, that's my push. But anyway, so when I get round to actually doing it and realising, oh, that took me 5 minutes. Why did that just take me all day to prepare myself for? And it was like, when I get distracted, I feel like I don't know. It's like I'm avoiding the initial task that I need to do. It sounds crazy. Like, it's not like I'm avoiding the task and doing something else that's not needed to be done. Although sometimes I do that as well. I think it just depends on my energy levels a lot of the time. But yeah, like 9 times out of 10, the washing up really isn't that bad. It really isn't. And it does make you feel better when you do it as well. And that's also like, why is that not what I focus on? The knowing that I'm going to feel good when all of this has been washed up, it's drained, and then it gets put away. No, I don't know. But the other point I was going to make was the part where I'm so easily distracted. So the other day, I was just on my phone. No, I wasn't on my phone. I needed to set an alarm for something. And I went on my phone, clicked the alarm clock thing, but I didn't select the time yet because a notification came through with an email on it that I had to check. Looked important, so I was like, oh, I best check this now. So I decided to look at that. And then that led me to need to sort out a folder for these particular emails so I don't lose them. Then that ended up with me, kind of scrolling through all my emails, or quite a lot of them, and going, oh, no, I don't need that one anymore. Oh, flag that one. And I just started doing something completely irrelevant. And even though I'm totally conscious of the fact that that's what I was doing and I can remember it, it's like I zone back into reality. It's like I don't know, like I shock myself out of it. And then I realise, oh, well, I didn't set the alarm that I needed to set for like 15 minutes because I've just spent 15 minutes or however long it was sorting out my emails. And now the thing that I needed to put an alarm on for, well, it's too late. Well, it's not too late, but do you know what I mean? Like the point is that why did I get so easily distracted? Yeah. You know, when I say these things out loud, I realise how insane I sound sometimes. And I hate using it as an excuse because it, you know, so many people don't quite understand what this is, like what it is like to be this way. And you get a lot of people who go, well, everyone's a little bit ADHD. Well, I do that thing and I'm not ADHD. And it's like, well, good for you. That's fantastic. But there are multiple things that go into having ADHD. And most of those things are actually somewhat debilitating. It's, imagine being trapped in your own mind constantly. It's like a trap with thousands to millions of thoughts constantly. Sometimes I'm incapable of even finishing a thought because by the time I get to maybe the mid of a thought, there is another one coming in, and it's like a constant swirling. Like and then if I get distracted, oh, there's a new thought. There's just too many things coming in, and my brain just cannot process all of that. It's too much. And I like to sort of compare myself to a computer. You know, when you have too many tabs open at once and your laptop starts to lag. It starts going mental because it's just trying to do so much at the same time. And so when people say that everyone's a little bit ADHD, they are so wrong. Because if they don't feel like they are a computer going into lag mode and they can keep up with tasks and just get on with life in general, I'm not saying that you can't get people with ADHD who function well. That is a thing, you know, you can. But what I'm saying is you cannot disregard someone else's experiences and say, well, everyone's got it. It's not the case. So, anyway, that was a little bit of a rant. But it is, it's really uncomfortable at times. You know, there are times where I love it. I love the fact that I'm not the same as a neurotypical. I love the fact that sometimes the way I am is humorous and it makes people smile. Like I'm crazy sometimes, and I love the way people giggle at it. You know, I love that. But my thing is, if people could really see what I'm like, with just dealing with everyday situations, little things, paperwork, always leaving things until last minute, forgetting appointments, or being too overly cautious about appointments that you end up going a day early, which I've done a few times. What the problem is that I assume that I've got the date wrong. And I could just, look it up. But do you know what? The other thing I could do is just put it straight into my calendar. But do I do that? No, because 9 out of 10, as soon as I come out of that dentist or whatever, I've been distracted. It takes a second sometimes. It's just a second. And that really important thing that I needed to do is just gone, it's in there. Also, this other thing that goes on with ADHD for me is the fact that I always have a nervous feeling in my chest. I always feel really anxious, and it's not necessarily about social situations, which I'm not great with anyway, because I have some issues with my speech sometimes. But it's this underlying worry that I've forgotten something really important. And most of the time, it's true. I have. And that's what's funny, is that my body does know, my brain does know, and it's trying to tell me that there's something I need to be doing, or there's something that I should have already done. But as I said, there's just too many. I mean, going back to the laptop thing, if you try to update your laptop with all those folders open, I think it would take a lot longer. I think it would struggle. Also, when you try and shut down a laptop when you've got things open and you haven't closed them, it takes the laptop a little bit longer, doesn't it, to shut down? And I think that's my analogy of it. It's just too much going on. There's too many things for my brain to process all at once. We've got the electricity thing. I can literally now, even with my ears, even with my ears being quite muffled at the minute, all I'm kind of noticing right now is the of my fridge. And do you know what? A normal, typical person probably wouldn't even notice it or even care about it. But for me, it's just that's really annoying. And when it's late at night as well, all I can hear is the ding of all the electric. It's just oh my God, shut up. But apparently not everyone can hear that. So, but imagine all of those thoughts that I just said. You have all these thoughts, all these things that you probably need to be getting done. Then you've got all the ridiculous thoughts. Oh, and then don't forget the theme tune of the day. You've probably got a song, or if you're a ADHD, neurodivergent, whatever, you've probably got a song just, I call it here. Do you know what I mean? It's just there, and it's permanently playing, and it's usually one line, just constant, all the time. So it's you've got a million voices and thoughts going on. Then you've got this song playing, and for me it's strange because I can literally hear every detail of that song, every detail of that particular line that I'm quite clearly obsessing over. And then you get a dripping tap, or you get the humming of the fridge, or you stub your toe. Sometimes that is the only trigger I need. It's those things that kind of feel like the last straw for me. It's an overload. It's a sensory overload. It's just too much. And I just think the society that we live in is so demanding of everybody. You get all the people going, why is suddenly so many people got ADHD? Like, why does it just come out of nowhere and like everybody's got it? Well, let's just clarify, not everybody's got it. But a lot of people do. A lot of people are finding out that they have ADHD, particularly women. 20 years ago when I was in school, it wasn't known of back then that a female could get ADHD. Mostly boys were diagnosed with it, young boys who just behaved a little bit naughty, And then obviously now, fast forward to the last few years where a lot more women have been coming forward and going, hey, there's something going on here. And there's been new research saying that women actually can, and that a lot of their hyperactivity is actually internalized, which is what I mean about the overload. You find that for a female with ADHD, they will stay like this. Well, it will appear like that. But in their mind, it is just a constant. There's just too much going on. And when I say about the stubbing of the toe or that annoying noise or something like that, that's usually the trigger. It's something like that that just makes us go, bah! I can't take it anymore. Anyway, I went off topic then a little bit. No, I stayed on topic, but went off topic and then still on topic. I just want to bring it back to the point of why I feel like there are so many people suddenly getting ADHD. We're not suddenly getting ADHD, okay? It's always been there. It's just that it's being acknowledged now as, But my personal thing, obviously, it is can be related to a trauma response or a stress response from an early age, which is, 9 times out of 10 mostly true. But we also have to remember that this world is incredibly intense daily. Like, what is expected of us on a daily basis? We have to constantly perform. Like, we always have to constantly show up. All right, we have our rest days, but there's still probably something that we've got to show up for, right? Whether it be kids, family, just getting out of bed. We have to show up. Just going for a shower. We've got to show up. We've got to do these things to maintain our hygiene, maintain our jobs, maintain our relationships, maintain life. And I think it's just becoming a bit much. And I think there are just a lot of people on this planet who can't deal with it. It's too much. A lot of childhood trauma comes from trauma that was passed down from our parents, the trauma that they received when they were kids, and then so on and so on. Because in this world, 9 times out of 10, you're going to witness something traumatic because it's just the world. It's a good and evil place. And so there's going to be really good moments, but there are also going to be things that are traumatic. And so if we're already dealing with a broken family, and then the stress of the world starts sort of seeping in as we're growing up, I think it's only natural good timing. There is a baby crying like anything out there right now. I was going to say, I think it's only normal that we kind of retaliate. And like our brains are just going, no, it's too hard, too much. It's crazy. Also, I have to agree as well that the digital world isn't helping at all. So having access to phones and the internet isn't helping anyone. Because what's happened is we have this device where we receive all of our entertainment from. And so dopamine fixes are very easy to find. Just watching some funny videos or watching a podcast, or, we don't actually have to actively explore the world, which is what I was trying to say. We simply just have to go on our phones and go, where does this thing come from? And how does this thing work? And so we're not actually using our brains. We're just getting super distracted all the time. The phones are the distraction, which is funny because obviously if you are watching this, you are more than likely watching it through a phone. So, yeah. But, phones are one of the factors, I think, to why there is a increase in, well, I hate saying that because it's not an increase. I think it was already there. I think it's been in people for centuries. I just think it's a neurological response to the world we live in. Just because there wasn't a name for it back then doesn't mean people had it, And that's what I find so funny about some of these people that just go, well, back in my day, there was no ADHD. Well, no, because it wasn't named yet. But I reckon if I sat down in a room full of elderly people, I'd be able to spot a few of them that could potentially have ADHD. Or maybe even autism. The only reason why it didn't exist was because there was no name for it. And so people just got on with life. They covered it up with a mask. They probably always knew that there was something not right about them, though. And the thing is, I hate saying that, not right. There's nothing wrong with you if you have ADHD or autism, What it is that you just don't necessarily work very well in this system. But it doesn't mean to say that you can't be accepted in society with people as a person. In fact, I think people with autism or ADHD actually have maybe some things to add to society. Maybe the ADHD people have that, slight rebellious thing that kind of fight for freedom in a way. Obviously, it comes at a cost because a lot of things, we don't get to achieve in our lives because we're spending too much time trying to keep up with life in general, which is really hard. But then you've got autistic people who, are somewhat really clever. They find something that they're really good at, and when they're really good at something, they keep going with it and make a lot of changes. And so, yeah, I need to make sure I don't say that anymore because I don't like saying that there's something wrong with them, because there's nothing wrong with them. Again, that is a society thing of saying, oh, you're weird, you're different to me, so there must be something wrong with you. But, to us neurodivergents, there's something wrong with neurotypicals. I'm joking. Yeah. Anyway, that was a really long chat. I don't know if there's anything else I really want to say. I've kind of like gone blank now, which is nice because normally my brain doesn't go blank. So that's really nice. Maybe those are some of the thoughts that I really wanted to get out. But yeah, if you watch this video, thank you very much. I'm sure I will try and sit down and do a few more of these. Yeah, goodbye.